Why aren't more moms surfing? Is it because they don't want to, or maybe it's because they find it difficult to figure out how to make it work logistically? I think it's the latter, and we're going to talk a little bit more about why that is the case and ways that moms can make surfing more accessible for themselves despite all the needs of caring for children and time constraints and all of that stuff. My name is Tirza, and I am a mom in Southern California who also surfs, and I've been learning how to surf for about 3 years now, and it's been very slow, my progression, but I am definitely catching waves at this point, and so I feel like I've really been able to see some of the struggles and difficulties of being a mom who's also a surfer and trying to explore that passion and also find a little bit of myself even after motherhood, which is so important and often overlooked. So let's get into some of these things that I feel like are pretty common hang-ups for moms wanting to learn how to surf, and I have some tips on ways that you can overcome them. So the first one is time constraints. Time constraints is a huge problem when you're a mom who wants to surf. You've got kids that you've got to pick up from school, drop them off, go to sports and other events, and all kinds of extracurricular activities, even on the weekends sometimes. So how do you find the time to try to surf? And then there's that barrier of learning how to surf, and it takes time to develop the skills you need to learn how to surf well. So how do you have the endurance to continue to struggle and to work at your surfing when you don't even really have the time to work on it? One of the things that really has helped me a lot with finding more time to surf, especially when you have kids you have to watch, whether you're at home school mom or your kids are not quite school age, is surf swaps. There's several groups that organize them in different cities, but sometimes there's also just local groups that you could probably find on Facebook. And those are super nice because you have the opportunity to spend some time by yourself and to connect with other moms in a similar stage of life as you, but also your kids get to have a lot of fun playing at the beach, and so you don't have to feel guilty about trying to sneak away, and that's been really good for me. Another option is to go in the evenings later or early in the mornings before school. This usually works best in the summertime when there's more daylight, but and especially if your partner surfs, then this is a great thing for you guys to take turns doing and both be able to get out in the water and enjoy some alone time. Another one that is really tricky for moms is having the money and the means to surf. If you surf in a cold place, then you need a wetsuit and you obviously need at least a board. Those are kind of the two things that you absolutely need. And so one way to help with that cost, instead of buying a brand new fancy board that probably will just get dinged or bumped or scraped the first time you go out, a great way to go is to check out Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. These often have boards that people are trying to get rid of, either because they just don't use them anymore and they've been sitting in their garage, or sometimes people move from a foam board up to a more advanced surfboard. And I've mentioned it before on this channel, but ideally your first board should be a foam board. It makes it really easy to catch waves, especially if you're a mom who hasn't been so active, and especially if you are postpartum. So that can help with the money constraints. You can also find wetsuits on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I even have found wetsuits brand new for a discount on eBay. So those are great ways to try to help out with the cost of learning how to surf, and it doesn't have to cost a fortune to be able to learn. Another thing that prevents a lot of moms from wanting to learn how to surf is because they feel alone out in the water, either because they're not a young boy with lots of energy or a man with more strength, or sometimes I have felt with other women out in the lineup that there's this closed offness of not really wanting to acknowledge each other. And honestly, I think that's pretty silly. I think that surfing culture should be inviting and welcoming and encouraging each other. But it can feel really intimidating if you don't know how to surf and you're concerned about being silly. And I have several videos that can help that a lot with learning surf etiquette, which is really important. And if you know surf etiquette, people will have a lot more respect for you than if you are just going out there without any knowledge about the rules or what is common courtesy out in the surf. But also, again, as I mentioned, having a surf mom group that you swap with, or even online to connect with. I've been trying to create a channel here that is welcoming and inviting to all kinds of surfers, but specifically moms and women who feel like they're alone or they need a little bit of encouragement. And I think that that is something that at a certain point, if you really want to learn how to surf, you have to learn to just get over feeling nervous about looking dumb or stupid. And I remember a thought that came to me when I was first learning how to surf, because I was so worried about what other people thought, and I was concerned about looking dumb or getting in someone's way. And I was just thinking, every single person who has ever learned how to surf has been a kook or has done stupid things that they shouldn't have done out in the water, or basically everyone has been a beginner. And so that really helped me to remember that even the best surfers had to start somewhere. And it's okay to make mistakes, and ideally you should try to have the best etiquette out there so that you're not unintentionally making mistakes. Sometimes it happens and it's unavoidable, but it really helps if you are able to check out my surf etiquette video. Then that will give you a lot of good tips on making sure you don't do something that is a big no-no in surfing. The last one is something I know I struggled with, and I think is a very common struggle for moms who want to learn how to surf, or even moms who used to surf but no longer do because they have children, and that is fear or difficulty physically being able to surf. There's just something that happens to you physically, obviously, but also mentally. Sometimes you can get more fearful after having a child. And for me, the best solution was to just take things slow. I started off on a boogie board with some swim fins. I have a video, I believe, on my channel about that as well, which I can link above. But just starting small and getting yourself comfortable just being in the ocean, ideally in conditions that are small, that would be equivalent to your skill level, or even just if you're a very beginner or trying to get your feet wet again, just getting in the whitewash is a great way to just get yourself back into the water and kind of figure out your balance again and get some more exercise in. And I promise you, even if it seems easy, if you paddle out and try to get just a little bit out into the whitewash so it's powerful enough to push you to be able to stand up, you will definitely get a workout in just doing that. And that will really help you build up some strength. Obviously, you should check with your doctor if you are recently postpartum, and maybe even just postpartum in general. It might be a good idea to make sure that that is an okay exercise for you to do. But I feel like surfing is just such a great activity because it's something that you have to do alone. And so it's really nice as a mom to have an excuse to be by yourself and have some time to just be by yourself. And it's so healing and refreshing to jump in the water and be in the ocean. It just feels so good, even if you don't catch very many good waves on a day when you're surfing. It just feels really good to even just get in the water. And summer is coming up, so this is a great time to jump in the water. A lot of places further south here in the US are warming up, and so the need for a wetsuit is not as needed. And even if you're up north somewhere on a hot summer day, jumping in the water can feel so good. So I feel like one of the best remedies for conquering your fear or your frustration with your physical capabilities with surfing is just to start slow. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations or situations where you're going to feel really overwhelmed. It's good to just start slow and build as you go and start building up your comfort zone slowly, because if you try to jump too much off the deep end, then you can actually end up making yourself go backwards. And I have definitely experienced that in my surfing, where I've gotten pretty freaked out in surf that I was not comfortable with. And it's just good to take baby steps at a time, listen to your body, take a break if you need to for a couple days, and then get back out in the water. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video and checking it out. I hope it helped you find some ways to maybe try to learn how to surf, or maybe you know someone who's been wanting to learn how to surf but just hasn't found a way to make it work. If you know anyone like that, send them this video. It might help them get in the water. Also, if there's anything specifically you'd like to see, comment down below. I am more than happy to try to make some videos based off what you guys would like to learn more about or see. I feel like I've had a pretty good amount of experience in making mistakes and having to overcome things and learn a lot of lessons surfing in the water as a beginner, so I feel like I have some good information to share on those topics. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you out in the water.